right. So this is just a practice run. Um,
Okay.
Tell me what you were about to say with that.
What I was saying is on these ring style bases, some players use hogs in the clan castle to bring those in the back end to make sure they're going to get some of those last defenses and ensure the 3-star. I didn't do that. I just went the power method and said, let's just try to plow through it, which seemed to work okay. Well, I got
All right.
3, so
I want you
clearly
to
it
look
worked
at
all
this
right.
base. Tell me, and I ran it forward a little bit. Tell me when you're looking at this ring base, what are you what are you thinking when you're planning your attack?
Well, one of the things I'm looking at is how many defenses are in those outer compartments, because those are going to draw attention of the golems. Those are going to draw attention of my heroes, and I wonder how much firepower they're going to be bringing into the middle where the bulk of my troops are going in. I'm also looking whether I can run straight across the base in a line pattern, or
Right.
how much funnel has to be set up.
So you're
This
talking
base,
about, can you see this highlight that I put on the screen?
uh, right now I see yes, yeah, I see it. I see it.
Okay. All right. So you're talking about these defense bases right here.
Right, and along the sides in particular, I knew I was going to wipe this first compartment out.
Gotcha.
Um, I approach these bases all the same way. This is my personal attack preference. If at all possible, I'm coming straight at the queen, and I'm coming. I want to tackle the Inferno towers one at a time rather than from the side. I would rather
That's a
having.
great idea. Yep, that's exactly what I think. So in this case,
I
I've
would rather. I would
already
rather. Yeah, just
started the playback, but you've dropped 4. Well, you're going to drop another one. EQ
right,
spells right on the queen, and you're lucky, but
right,
you're going to clear the 2 walls here. I'm going to play this a little bit before you're going to clear
right.
2 sets of walls.
That's right. The EQ spell, I think the range is 7.5 tiles. I
Yep.
believe that's right. Um, and so that means if you've got, the first thing I look at is if I've got 2 structures back to back, there's no additional space in there, I know I'm going to get the walls on either side. And this, to me, is just really, really poor design because you just drop those spells right in there and the core is open, the inner compartment wall is open, and you break in through the outside and you're golden. So that worked
You're
perfectly.
right. Most of the time, right here where this arrow is, most of the time it's wider, but he gave you a clear passage. Now, let me ask you this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How do you get your troops to go from here to there and not spray everywhere? How do you funnel that? What's your
Well, on this one, if you notice that I'm touching my laptop screen to try to move with my finger, that doesn't work. Um, this one has a natural funnel.
yeah,
If you see it, the base itself is a funnel. He has very few external structures. So I'm going to drop, I always approach these the same way. I'm going to drop a golem on either point of the outer compartment that I'm coming in this case, the southeast
gotcha.
face. And I know that immediately the golem's going to tank for just a few wizards behind to clear up those outer structures. And I want to immediately break into those outer corners so
Okay.
that everything starts pulling to that center gap that I've created.
All right. I'm
And
going to play it. I'm going to play that a little bit and just see
okay,
what happens. And I'll play
okay,
it here and then stop for a minute.
sure,
So there you got both golems coming in just on your corners, and you got one golem up the middle, and
right.
wizards taking out everything in that outer
You got it.
section.
And you notice I saved that middle golem for last,
Yeah.
and that was intentional. Thinking that the wizards and everything would start the cleanup process. So at about I just paused mine at
I paused
a
mine
minute
too.
32 seconds, somewhere around there. You see that everything that's left is right there in the middle where I created that gap.
I love this. So you're
Um,
going to see everything is going right up the middle. And now, have you started dropping your heroes before your Valkyries?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What
Because
do you like about that?
well, the Valks are so ridiculously fast. One of the things, normally my spell composition involves a haste. I didn't this time. I went with a slightly different mix and probably did not need 2 free spells, but it worked out again. I could
Right.
possibly have used another jump. But if I get those spells down and those Valks are ahead of my heroes, they're outrunning. The floating fat boy, that Grand Warden, is so stinking slow in his motion, and he's unpredictable in what he's going to target. So you totally waste his ability if he goes after the Valks. So I give credit to Ashling from his YouTube channel, is Clash with Ash. Just watching some of his tutorials about that, the mass Valk strategy.
Yeah.
I think one of the keys to success is the moment I'm watching my Valks as I'm deploying. And so I always deploy them behind the Grand Warden. And just as they're hitting the edge of his radius, that's when I enable his ability. So they hit the interior of the base under the tome ability. So they're completely protected. And they wreck things pretty quickly to start off with. So you create a lot of damage to start with, and then the rest of your forces moving in.
I want to turn it on and let it play. And I'm seeing your Valks come in, and I'm seeing them hit that. There you hit the.
I probably hit it just a touch early, probably just literally half a second too early. But rather do that than half a second too late. So right as they're getting to the edge, and some are still trailing behind. I should have tried to drop those together. I keep forgetting that the Claim Castle takes a second or so to deploy fully. Right. But once I'm inside the base, they're under the Warden's ability. You get that rage down for your golems, for your other heroes, and it's slaughter. It really is. And they're in that contained area, so they're jumping to, all of your troops are jumping to everything, and just taking it out.
And you've got a freeze now. Looks like he's got his Hidden Teslas and Inferno Tower at the very back end, and you've got a freeze.
Right.
And all of those are just frozen. So they're doing nothing.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm playing.
That's right. And my freeze, if I carry one, I generally save it for the back end Inferno Tower, because by that time the Warden's ability is worn off. You're probably moving out of the rage radius, and so that's just to preserve it. And see that second freeze that was dropped pretty much was wasted. Another rage.
It did help you with that bow. But
it did.
You did. By that point, it was pretty much over.
Yeah, right, so the raid was over.
At this point, it's just all over pretty much. You've got it. Your pocket minions coming in on the bottom, which I always forget to bring those guys. But they're always.
They don't always work, but hey. And about. Again, when I hit like 75, 76%, right, you need them.
I've gotten away from them. But, first time you get there and you don't have one, you just kick yourself. Right. And you really didn't need them, but you never know that until you get to that point. All right.
Well, time's a factor. And when the king made it up against that back wall, I went ahead and triggered his ability just to hurriedly get me through that wall and take those defenses out. So that they weren't firing on anything. And when you get to 80% or so, and you still got at least half a golem, or you still got a king, or you still got your Grand Warden, and you've not used your queen ability, you've got it.
You've got it. All right, my friend. Well, I'm going to play around with this and see if I can get it to do anything for us. Thanks for your help. And
man.
I sure would. Hey, what happened? I can hear you now.
You can hear me now? I don't know. Anything changed?
Something must have changed. I don't know. I can hear you better. But
maybe the coffee kicked in.
I think my earplugs were not plugged in. All right. Well, I'm going to play around with this.
All right, man.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Paul. Have a good one.
All right. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, so we're recording this one, and I'm talking to Hawk. This was a base, and it is my base, and he killed it. with no strategy.
Unfortunately, he's telling the truth.
All right, tell me this:
Um,
when you see this base, and this is an everyday attack, so you don't have the time like a war attack. And so, like I do when I'm a everyday attack, I just bring the meat, right? Oh gosh, I don't know, I lost
that's
it.
right. Just bring it. I
All
mean,
right,
he kind of.
I'm gonna bring it back. Hang on. So you,
That's all right.
so you're just going through looking when you're looking for, hang on, when you're looking for a base to hit every day, what you looking for?
Well, right now, with as everyone knows, these Valks and they're after the new update, they're just it's insane how good they are and how overpowered they are. So right now, I'm sure it's like this with most of y'all. I'm looking for a open base,
Right,
not a lot of sections and walls.
right.
Fortunately, the Valks are so good that I don't really have to pay attention to the Inferno Towers very much. I mean, as you can see in this one, there's double max multi Inferno, so you would think, I don't know how many lasers they shoot or whatever you want to call them, but
You think
you
it'd
would
be,
think that would might melt a lot of Valks, but it just does nothing to them.
especially if they're under
So I'm
range.
looking for an open base, looking for a way, like here, the way I chose, as you can see that jump spell there, I chose to come from the west. The reason for that is obviously the Eagle air defense, right there in that, second section.
Yep.
Um, so that was my first cue of why I chose the west. My second thing was, and probably my only other little strategy I think I had for this one was, I'm gonna try to explain it. I guess I probably will jump on a little pin here if I can find it. Um, so I figured if I came from the east, my troops could. I draw two lines right now. I don't know if.
Right.
Let me know if when it comes up or if it does come up.
I got him.
Okay, those green lines. The reason I said, if I go from the east, some of my troops could shop around there, and that might not be a bad thing. But then when they get up to those air defenses right there, they're gonna kind of run into a block. It isn't much, but it could potentially, stop a 3-star. So I figured if I came from the west, which way I came in, that if I busted into the core, I would have my core troops, and then possibly some other troops could go north or south where I draw those lines and actually shop, which is usually a big no-no. But in this base, I was thinking, it might be a good thing to get them to shop there. Some troops. Now, and unfortunately, they did on the south side. I didn't really plan which side they were going to go, but it worked out.
It did, and I'll tell you, this is my base. This is the base I use every day. And 99% of
Yeah.
people who hit me, they come in either 2 o'clock or like 5 o'clock, and they just get all drawn out and through here. And I usually get maybe 1 star on me, but no one ever comes the way you came. That's the key, I think. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to play it, and when you're watching this is a terrible playback. So I'll just
I can play it on my iPad if you want as
oh,
well.
all
I
right.
kind of.
I'm going to put it here about
Uh,
two. I'm at 217. Run it up to 217, and then we'll start it together.
okay. Um, Also, I guess I'll say, state the obvious. You can see my troop composition and what I'm using. I've messed around with a lot. I'm sure y'all have too. For me, this is like one of the most little powerful combinations, and I try to watch all y'all's too because I know there's better out there. But for me, something about this composition, I can literally just drop it and go. So start out with a jump spell. Um, And on this base, I kind of put the jump spell straight up. The reason I did that at first was because there wasn't really very many buildings on the outside of the base to create my Valks or whatever to go shopping. So if there is that where they're on the outside, I'll kind of delay my jump spell, put my troops down, and kind of let them clear the edges. But either way, this time I could go ahead and put the jump and go ahead and create my core funnel there with the EQs. And luckily, I mean, it completely obliterated all that. I mean, it took out a little chunk of the inside core, but it completely took out that second wall, so that was good.
Yeah, I like it when you take that.
But,
Uh,
no, go ahead.
I like when you use this jump spell on one wall and the EQs when you get two walls with those EQs.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. And that's something I've been messing around with. What if I would have went a little south east? I'm gonna draw a little line. What if I went a little southeast? Let's see when it comes up. I guess right there. What if I went a little southeast or northwest, either way, and EQ'd both of those walls? But that's just something I've been messing around with. It's
Yeah,
apples and oranges, kind of.
it is. All right, well, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to play it. I'm going to start it, and I'm going to play it a
Okay,
little bit. You'll see the playback on this is kind of bad, and I'm not sure why
that's
that
all right.
is. But now you're
I'm
using a
just
lot.
hanging out.
Yeah, you're using a lot more giants than I've been using. You like those giants better
Yeah,
than?
and see that. Yeah, I do. I like, as you can see, if you've seen when I request for troops, it's usually giants or golems. I
Right,
think the premium is one golem in there, and that's for spring traps and stuff like that that'll affect your giants. But if you pick a good route and you're not hitting all the spring traps and all that, the
right.
giants I think are the way to go. They're just way too powerful.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's something I messed around with and when I first started this attack, I did actually one golem and like four giants. Now
Right.
I'm doing 10 giants, and I think it works better.
It does work well. Now, where I am on the playback now, you've got those first two sections pretty well cleared, and now you're just going right on there into the core.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty self-explanatory. I wish I could act like our Town Hall Nines and all this strategic stuff, but in respect to them because they're great attackers, how they have to pick it apart. But I basically dropped my heavy troops, my golems, my giants, spread my whiz. This is one more thing I'm messing around with, and I'd like to hear y'all's input on it. Is I'm trying to figure out the best time to deploy the warden because I want my Valks in the warden's range if I can at all times. So I'd usually drop my king, queen, then the warden, and then send the Valks in after that.
That's exactly what BD and I were talking about today. Because if you send the warden in last, that guy is so slow that by the
So
time,
slow,
yeah,
yeah,
you got to give him a head start. Now I paused it right here, and you have done great. The reason this really did well, one reason you did the tome, and when you did your tome, the warden is in there far enough that he's hitting all your Valks, he's hitting the giants, he's hitting everybody, and so he's caught up with your troops,
yep,
and he's hitting them right as they get ready to go in the core. So I think you're right. Delaying that warden, it lets everybody catch up with him because if you don't, he's
yeah,
just yeah. All right,
yeah,
buddy.
and especially in a base like this, I mean, there's definitely room for shopping, as you can see, but at the very beginning, majority of the troops are going to be funneling straight to that core, so it's probably going to get most of them there. And I saw a giant bomb trigger. I saw a Tesla pop up. I
Right.
know I'm about to run into that crazy looking core,
And
so
I
that's why I did that.
and I didn't notice. I don't know how your queen got down there. She's out there chopping on a wall. I don't even know how she got way out
Oh,
there.
and I was so furious at her at that point in time because I'm like, well, I'm gonna get the 2-star, but I'm screwed. And well, it
Yeah.
actually worked out for me.
Sometimes it happens. What did she walk down? I didn't see it. Did she walk down around the outside, or how did she get down there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She walked around the. Oh, sorry about that. She walked around the outside, just like she does.
Oh my God.
Just
It worked out.
perfect queen.
It worked out perfect though, because now she's not in bad shape, and she's right there with the warden, and she's got the king, and I don't know how you get your guys to do that. Mine never. My queen would have gone the other way.
Oh well, I wish I had. I mean, like I said,
Sometimes
that
it,
was it
sometimes
was.
it works out.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But so basically, it worked out almost as perfect as I could have it. I mean, I went in there, jumped the core, and then instead of going straight through the middle at the core at those double whiz towers, and then, having a north and a south to clear.
Right.
My giants looked like a giants, and then all my heroes came straight to the south, and then just did a loop like they're doing, which was perfect because they're all working together, they're all hitting everything at the same time. It worked out pretty good.
All right. Well,
And as you can see, I gotta brag real quick.
yeah.
Look, I mean, it's like 80, 90%, and we haven't even used the queen's ability yet. That's how powerful that attack is.
And you got some serious loot, Bo. You got 600,000 gold, 500,000 elixir, and 6,000 dark elixir, and 20 cups.
Yeah, but I drank away all that gold that night from the alcohol.
Hey, at least you started.
So,
They're playing with house money. All right, Bo. Well, listen,
yes, sir. That's right.
I'm gonna see what I can do to put this together. I appreciate your time. We'll do it again.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'm here. I'm ready anytime.
Thanks, Bo. We'll see you later.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.